Welcome to Water Mission's video series on the Grundfos Renewable Solar Inverter, or RSI. This video covers the Startup Wizard and related topics including: what is the Startup Wizard? Information required to complete the Startup Wizard, a guided walkthrough of the Startup Wizard from start to finish, and how to correct any mistakes made during the Startup Wizard. First, what is the Startup Wizard? The Startup Wizard is a program that's integrated into the Grundfos RSI software designed to help the user quickly program the necessary information to enable the RSI to effectively control the pump to which it's wired. It is typically only used when energizing the RSI for the first time after installation or after performing a factory reset. While it can be accessed at any time by pressing the Home button, it is often faster and easier to edit parameters from the Quick Setup menu rather than going back through the whole Startup Wizard program. Next, Startup Wizard required information. There are several sources of information that should be collected prior to launching the program to be able to fully complete the Startup Wizard. These include the electrical data from the pump specification sheet. This can be accessed online through the Grundfos Product Center. Simply type in the model or product number to find your specific pump. It is a good idea to keep the pump make and model documentation available after installation to be able to find the specifications later. Confirm that the model is the same as the installed pump. For this example, we are using the Grundfos SP pump model 62S50-12. Scroll down and select Specifications. The electrical specifications will be on the right side, partway down the page. The solar specifications are also required. These can be found on the panel specification sheet, or you can take a picture of the specs on the nameplate on the back of the solar panel. This example uses SolarWorld 290 watt modules. Companies often have multiple series of panels with the same wattage, so it is important that you identify the correct make and model, as the specifications could vary slightly. Finally, the solar configuration is important to know, particularly the number of panels in series. This can be found from the Water Mission design tools, the PDT or EPT, or from physically counting the number of panels in series at the solar array. You may notice from the pump specifications that multiple values are listed for several categories that correspond to multiple voltages. This is because the pump can operate at a range of voltages and will perform slightly different at each. These numbers can be put into a table to figure out which values correspond to each voltage. If your project does not have solar power, the AC input voltage will be selected as the voltage for the pump. For projects that include solar, especially those where the PV array operates at a higher voltage than the rectified AC voltage, the highest voltage option should be selected. This is because the RSI does not boost the voltage it is given. For our example, the AC input voltage is 208 volts 3-phase. The RSI will not boost this to 230 volts AC by itself. However, if the project will primarily be powered from solar power or power blending, the operational voltage will often be boosted to a higher voltage than what the AC power alone could provide. So for this example, even though we have a 208 volt 3-phase AC power source, we will select 230 volts for the pump voltage, since this project has an array voltage that will enable the RSI to provide a boosted 230 volts to the pump rather than the 208 volts from the AC power source alone. The remaining values for rated current, cos phi, or power factor, and rated speed then simply follow in line with whichever voltage is selected as seen on the table. In general, the lowest listed rated current and lowest power factor correspond to the highest voltage, and the highest speed in rotations per minute also corresponds to the highest voltage. We will now walk through the Startup Wizard from start to finish. This table includes all of the parameters that will be entered during the Startup Wizard. This video will walk through each of them, but feel free to come back to this point and pause the video as needed if you need to see all of the parameters in one place. It should be noted that the values in red will typically not change between projects, but the values in blue are project specific and will change from project to project. First, energize the RSI for the first time, or this may be after a factory reset. Then select your preferred language and select Yes to begin the startup wizard. For motor type, Grundfos SP pumps are induction motors, so select induction motor. The remaining parameters in this section of the table can be found on the pump specification sheet. For motor nominal voltage, we will choose 230 volts as previously discussed. For motor nominal frequency, we will select 60 Hz. For motor nominal speed, we will select 3,480 RPMs. Motor nominal current will be set to 16.1 amps. Motor cos phi, or power factor, will be 0.76. For motor nominal power, some pump specification sheets provide the power in horsepower. This can be converted to kilowatts using the conversion 1 horsepower is equal to 0.746 kilowatts. For our example, we will use 3.7 kilowatts. If your project includes a sine wave filter, select Yes, but in our case we do not have a sine wave filter as it is not required by Grundfos for this model of RSI. The pump selection for this project is SP as we are using a Grundfos SP pump. For solar panel specifications, the solar panel maximum operating voltage, or VMPP, can be found on the panel specification sheet. In this case, it is 31.4 volts. This should not be confused with the panel open circuit voltage, or VOC. The modules in series for this project is 10 modules. If you do not have the water emission design tool for the project available, the solar panels can be carefully counted to confirm the number of panels in series per string. And finally, the application is typically solar standard because water emission tries to use solar power whenever possible, and the solar maximum power point tracking feature of the Grundfos RSI is one of its main advantages. Press OK if the RSI is flashing not ready. Then press OK to exit the startup wizard, which will take you to the multi-monitor. There are times when you may accidentally enter an incorrect value during the startup wizard. Not to worry, any errors are easily fixed using the Quick Setup menu. The Quick Setup menu includes all of the startup wizard parameters plus several additional parameters, and it is often faster to edit those parameters in the Quick Setup menu rather than going back through the whole startup wizard. The Quick Setup menu can be accessed by pressing Home, Main Menu, and then Quick Setup. Make sure to check out Water Mission's other RSI training video on the Quick Setup menu. It is recommended, however, to first access the Advanced menu as this will give you access to more parameters than in the Basic menu. See Water Mission's other RSI training video on accessing the Advanced menu. Thanks for watching this video on the Startup Wizard. Make sure to check out Water Mission's other Grundfos RSI training videos.